My hat! Alright, so now I'm going to continue with the assembly, but now we're going to work on the rear part of the car. So for the rear part of the car, let's just say this was already assembled. You're just going to have to drop a pin in there and just make sure it goes into the block. And that is it. So there's that little hole right in there. Just going to drop the pin, and that is it. Now I need to install the arm. Now you may be wondering, which way does it go? Does it go this way? And the answer is no. If you look at this little bridge, this goes down below. The other thing too is notice you would not be able to mount the shock. Therefore it has to go this way. At this point, something that will help you secure the arm will be to install the shock. So at this point, that's what I'm going to end up doing. And I should have attached it to the arm first, to be honest, before I even place the arm. There we go. And now in the rear, I guess I could leave the position. I actually want the top. I will be changing the other one. I'm going to go with the top for the rear. I'll change that one later. Alright, so here we go. Now this, again, I use the mold markings, those little circles that appear as a guide, and I'm going to face those up. But to be honest, I believe there's no difference between them. And just to make sure that the arms don't fall out, I will go ahead and attach this component here. Just remember that the smaller screw goes in the center out of the three. And that is all you do. So if you do end up replacing this rear part, which you will after a while, assuming you drive a lot, just be careful not to let that fall out. But these cars, again, I do recommend these Vortex for a first-time hobby-grade RC, or just a touring car, first-time touring car. You can use them to race in a Vortex class. Now, they are too heavy to run against other cars, so do keep that in mind. Now, something else that I did again is I forgot to put the dog bone. Again, no big deal. Just remove this and then you can place the dog bone in there. Now, back to the Vortex. If you do want to run, if you want to race, the reason why it's not a competitive car for racing against, say, in a touring car, 17.5 touring car class, is because Vortex are too heavy. That's the reason why. So if you were to put the same motor, because you would have to do the same thing, use a 17.5, run the ESC in blinky mode, so there's no timing on the ESC, your Vortex would be too slow to compete with the other cars because of the gearing that you would have to run so that the motor can actually propel the vehicle. Keep in mind that you're going to be about 1 kilo heavier than everybody else. And that's the reason why. Now, if you are just into bashing, well, bashing you can do whatever you want, so it doesn't matter. I mean, you can make these cars really, really fast just by replacing the electronics with, whatever you can fit in there. But that's not the point of racing. So racing, there are rules. That's the difference. All right, good. So at this point, I'm going to move some of these parts over. Here's the dog bone. Here's the rear carrier bearings. And first I'm going to assemble this here. So anything that has bearings, you can just assemble that. That is it. And I'm going to do the same as I had done in the other video for the front end. I'm going to install this. Then once I install this, I'm going to drop the bushing and just hold it back here so this doesn't slide out. So hold it like this so it doesn't slide out. Once it's here, go ahead and attach the pin here for the little axle. Keeps slipping. Here we go. And once it's there, just go ahead and attach the hex, in this case the rotor, because it will clip onto the pin and then it will not fall out. So here you go. So it no longer falls out. At this point, you can go ahead and install the caliper as well. It goes in the center hole. Now again, if you're running the stock Tec class, keep these on. If you take them off and you just go with the regular hex to eliminate rotating mass, that's cheating. It has to be stock. Let's see. All right, so this here, now we can install it. And the way to install is, remember, this is going to go forward in the car. This is the rear. That's the front. So this will go this way. And stock form, both pins go rear to front, but keep in mind, if one side starts backing out, flip the pins on that side. Here we go, we're almost there. And these should be snug, do not over tighten. And there we go. Moves, we are good. At this point, I want to install the dog bone. So easiest way is to just stand this up, then hold the dog bone this way, and then move this, and then just rotate until you match the grooves with the pin on the dog bone. Excuse me. All right. So here, because this is the Ford GT, these links are going to go down here. If it were the Mustang, they would go up here. So that is one of the differences between the two. Just keep that in mind. And that may be one of the differences between a Mustang and a GT. So Ford Mustang GT versus a Ford GT when running, since the links in the rear are in a different spot. That will give you a different handling characteristic. So keep that in mind. Maybe you will prefer the setup on the Mustang over the GT, or the GT over the Mustang. Right, so at this point the rear is installed, but let me go ahead and show you the Mustang really quick. Now it's attached, but this is the difference. The links go up here instead of down here, but you can switch them. The only thing is, if you switch them to the top, just like the Mustang has them, you will not be able to run the Ford GT body. That's the reason why they go down here. They're also at an angle. So again, this is the Mustang. Notice how they're flatter. Notice these, how they are at an angle. So you're looking at the camber links. See how these camber links are at an angle, whereas the Mustang, they are relatively flat. That is one of the differences. And it is a stock setting, so you can change it up and just try it out. See how you like it or not. But that is it for the rear assembly. So we have, well, actually no, we forgot this. I apologize. Not quite finished. Got a little too excited there. This here, just remember that center, this is going to drop down like this, and there's only one way it'll fit. So if you were to accidentally flip it over, it would not fit. Let's go ahead and place it. All right. Wow, this thing's thinks it's a frog. All right, so it goes here, lower point. It would probably be easier to attach these. There we go. And always remember with these screws, because you're screwing into plastic, do not over tighten. You can ruin your plastics. So as soon as it's snug, that is it. That's all you need. And if you feel that it just spins forever, it means that you stripped it. So just stop. At that point, if it holds, you could leave it depending on the component. If it doesn't quite hold, or if it's a component that really needs to stay. So I'll give you an example. Let's just say this is the body mount. If I had stripped one of these 3 screws, it's not that important. It doesn't really matter. But if I had stripped, say, one of these, either on the shock tower or the arm, let's just say it was the arm, one, you can put some CA glue in there and then try to re-thread it, or just get another arm, because you don't want that to back out as you're running. All right, here we go. And now we're going to do the body mount, and we want 4 holes exposed. There we go. There are 4. Go ahead and drop this in there. And this in here. Now, if you wanted to, you could go ahead and attach the wheels now, but I'm going to leave it to the end. I may not even mount them up, to be honest. I may use some different ones, just save those for Tech, for the Tech class, because you have to use the stock tires and wheels, and I can just have spares, so I'll just get different touring car wheels for these. That grip a little better. That is one of the things. These are not the highest gripping tires. There are, so keep that in mind. But if you're running a stock class, you have to run the stock tires. But this is it. So we have this here. Move these over here. They're all the same size, so it doesn't matter if you saw me do that. Now we just need to attach these 2 halves together. And I have the screws. All 6 screws happen to be the same size. Therefore, it will not matter. But you do want to attach the front end first. And then leave the rear for the shaft. But these happen to be these happen to be those. And I know because of the way I placed them. So thank you so much for watching. In the next video, we're going to assemble this whole thing together.